in Germany.
Exactly.
Chris Eubank Jr. didn't want that fight. Billy Joe Saunders wants the fight now, but a couple years ago, not so much, you know. So, you know, kudos to Canelo, and before Canelo, it was Danny Jacobs, and they kind of burst the bubble. They kind of stepped up last year, and they were in competitive fights with Golovkin, and the rest of the boxing world, mainly the middleweight division, saw that, hey, he was a human. You know, he's not going to kill everybody, and so now everyone's calling out Triple G, which is a good thing.
It is a good thing, and even at that fight, which I was lucky enough to attend in New York, I thought he won that fight clearly. He dropped Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs made a good showing for himself. But, well, like we mentioned earlier, that's what happens with elite fighters, and we had two, not only elite fighters, but the two best middleweights in the world going up against each other with Canelo and Triple G. And for a second time, too, here's Steven Zobra Palenko. It says Canelo by KO.
So if you're a hardcore fan of either Golovkin or Canelo, it's not enough to say, my guy's going to win. You have to say, my guy's going to knock him out. And that's how strongly you feel about it. That's how passionate you are.
Statement, too. Yes, Francisco Herrera once said.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. It really isn't. But realistically, I see another hotly contested 12-round battle, but more entertaining.
I do think it's going to be a more entertaining fight. Both fighters like to stand their ground and exchange in very smart exchanges. They're not out there just throwing punches to throw it and letting leather fly and overwhelming you with just a volume of punches for overwhelming's sake. They're pretty calculated. They're both smart fighters. Different styles, but styles that complement each other. Canelo looking in tremendous shape, by the way. He wasn't too much over the 30-day weight.
You know what? He was actually lighter than Golovkin. At the WBC's 30-day out weigh-in, he was 167 pounds. So he was inside the super middleweight.
¿Dónde? El Eric está bien cagado.
Yes.
Te dio y se fue a la yo todo okay.
Saul Canelo Alvarez warming up. Doug, he already looks in fantastic shape. I mean, we've already talked about how hard he trains. I heard he started camp really early. Some really tough sparring partners they brought in. The camp was a closed camp. There's Eddie Reynoso Jr. doing some more new school methods with the pool noodles.
Yeah. But the pool noodles are good for a boxer like Canelo because his game is all about slip and counter. And he prides himself on his head and his upper body movement. So the noodles, they encourage movement. They encourage bobbing and weaving and stepping over to the side. And that's exactly what Canelo needs against Golovkin. And I like that. You see the big thighs, the big legs. He was born with those. That's where his power comes from. That's where the physical strength and the leverage comes from. But I like that his upper body is more trimmed down for this fight than it was for the first one and against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
And you just saw a little flash of combos. Those hands are looking really, really fast.
I think speed and fluidity is more important for Canelo than power.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I think that's very smart of his camp to train for that. Those strong legs, too, also big reason his defense is so good with the bobbing and weaving. He's able to do it for a full 12 rounds. You rarely see Canelo take clean shots on a consistent basis.
But, you know, making a fighter miss can be as discouraging to that opponent as hitting him. And to a guy like Golovkin, who can take as hard as a punch that you can deliver right on the chin, and he'll still keep marching forward, it might be better just to make him with air. Make him miss, but just make him pay more than you did in the first fight.
Which I think he will let his hands go more in this fight. He looks faster. I think his confidence is going to be at an all-time high. We talked about him having something to prove. I think it's going to be a real career-making performance for Canelo, who's already had so many highlights in his career.
It's really kind of amazing that he was fighting guys like Sugar Shane Mosley 6-7 years ago.
Showing little flashes of that hand speed.
Yeah, and these are drills that encourage speed and fluidity and volume, too.
Right, and he looks sharp. I got to tell you, he looks razor sharp. Great shape. And if this is a glimpse of what we're going to see as far as his approach,
I think it is.
Then
that head needs to be moving. He needs to be thinking about slipping the jab and countering it at all times, because that's the bread and butter punch of Golovkin. So if you can discourage him on that punch, if you can come up with a solution to that jab, you've won half the battle.
Well, Triple G is going to be needing to rely on that jab to time not only Canelo and set up his punches, but to slow down that aggressive head movement and really triple up on it, maybe even quadruple up on it, and just constantly pump it like a piston, because that's going to be a hard man to time with your combinations. Triple G, if he's making any adjustments to his attack, pumping that jab and attacking the body is definitely going to have to be implemented. Right now, though, let's go to our Roxy Diaz. Roxy, take it away.
Hey guys, right now, here with what is the most important part of this fight. The fans right now are showing all their love. So we got so many different fans from all over. Anthony, you tell me, who do you have September 15th to win the fight?
I got Canelo winning the fight. He's just going to go ahead and do what he do best and just knock him out.
So you're predicting a knockout for September 15th?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, what else do we have? More Canelo fans over here? What are we
Canelo Alvarez! Canelo! Canelo! Canelo!
I am surrounded by Canelo fans. Oh, I don't know if we have any Triple G. Triple G, baby.
Triple G, baby, all day.
The pride is amazing. The intensity is amazing. September 15th is going to be absolutely amazing. Mario, back to you.
Thank you. Meanwhile, Canelo looking very intense with his punches on the pillow bag. We keep calling it.
That's what I call it.
Yeah, I mean,
we saw the finesse and the head movement
Yes.
and the speed and fluidity and the footwork with the pool noodles, and now we're seeing what happens when he plants his feet and aims power shots.
and that's really, he's really displaying in these last few minutes what a complete fighter he is. Defensively, the speed, and now the power. Some of the same big hooks, same double hooks and right hands that Triple G was showing, Canelo showing equally.
And so he's going to need a perfect blend of these two boxing styles to defeat Triple G.
And that's
Meaning, like, I'm not saying he switches from finesse to power. I mean, the finesse and the power have to come together as one, like James Toney.
That's sort of his style anyway. He's got to be able to execute that, though, on a consistent basis if he wants to be victorious. And
like, these have to be his counter punches. When he makes Triple G miss, he needs to stay in the pocket, and this needs to be the quality of those counters, and he needs to aim them towards the midsection as much, if not more, than the chin.
I was surprised, too, in the first fight how much he allowed himself to be against the ropes. To be honest, he was very elusive there. Triple G didn't take advantage and go to the body as much. But I think
he countered well. He nailed
did counter
Triple G
well.
with some good uppercuts off those ropes.
Steven Polanco says Canelo's going to prepare a nice retirement party for Triple G. Ricardo Cadena Mata says hashtag Team Canelo. So we're hearing from a lot of the Canelo fans. I'm curious to see what the poll's at right now. We had it 67%.
I bet it evens up, which is, I think the official odds by fight week, I think they're going to be even.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo becomes a slight favorite by Friday or Saturday morning.
What was it
late money
fight, Doug?
I think it was slightly for like 8-5 for Triple G.
Triple G first fight. Yeah, it was very close. Canelo really getting in a workout as opposed to the other fighters, and him being the A side here. He's taking full advantage of the time in the ring and putting in some real work. He did about 2-3 rounds straight there.
And he's not breathing heavy, is he?
No.
All right.
You never see him out of shape.
That's a good sign.
You know, like I said, he's a great champion. He continues to work hard. He embraces the responsibility. He's a young guy who's responsible. You never hear stories of him with having bad camps.
And like Triple G, he stayed loyal to his team. He's had the same people around him his entire career, since he was a child.
You're right, the Reynosos. Yeah, and they've done a great job with him. They really have. He's continued to improve. Some people were concerned that he might have plateaued a couple years back, but he really has continued to show improvement each time out. So yeah, the Reynosos, who are like family to him. Hashtag Canelo wins if you think he's taking it. Here's our poll. It's a little closer. It's a little closer. Triple G still ahead by a substantial margin, 58% to Canelo, 42%. And I'm surprised by that, Doug.
I am too.
And Canelo going back to work.
Yeah, you know what I'd like to see him do is work a power jab against that double-handled pillow head.
You're exactly right.
I wanted to see more of a stiff jab from Canelo in that first fight. Because he's got a really good jab. He's never been consistent with it. In part because he hasn't had to be.
It's a fast jab. It is, and it's a stiff jab. Like you said, he usually likes to counter off of him, but he doesn't set it up the way Triple G does to set up a lot of his shots.
I seem to remember him scoring some knockdowns with the jab on his way up.
No, you're right, and he seems to have, maybe because his defense has gotten better and his counterpunching has gotten better. He hasn't relied on it so much, but yeah, it could come in handy here. I think the hand speed is the key and will be the factor in this second fight. father-son team with Canelo.
Yeah, and they've been in the game before the Alvarez family, before they were introduced to Canelo. They had developed world champions out of Guadalajara, like Oscar Larios, who was a junior featherweight and featherweight champion.
Right.
Fought Manny Pacquiao in the Philippines.
Had a nice
junior
career.
lightweight. Yeah, had a really good career. And a lightweight title holder named Javier Jauregui. But Canelo is their masterpiece. No doubt about that.
Absolutely, and you know, I admire Canelo for being incredibly loyal. I'm sure he was tugged many different ways, but
No doubt about
it's
it.
worked out well for him, and you don't see a lot of loyalty in boxing, but he's shown it. Mario Struch says, hashtag Canelo wins again. First fight, of course, ended in a draw.
All you people with these comments about Canelo winning, go vote for your man.
Exactly.
Move that
Chamberlain
percentage
Owen.
up.
Hashtag Triple G wins. Meanwhile, Canelo throwing some vicious combinations.
And these are punches that will get respect from Golovkin.
Right.
Golovkin will not just stand there and take shots from these type of power shots from Canelo. The way he stood and traded with the smaller Kell Brook or the lighter punching Willie Monroe Jr. Against a guy who's as strong and accurate as Canelo and as quick as Canelo is. This kind of power display will cause Triple G to take a back step.
I think
But whenever Triple G takes a back step, he comes right back with that jab, with power.
He was taking some monster shots and kept coming forward, but I think that's why maybe he was a little reluctant to go to the body. Or for those quick counters, those sharp counters, I should say. But I think he knows that may have betrayed him a little bit, and that is his bread and butter. He may have to eat a couple more to be effective down there. And to slow him down, we don't know if we'll see Canelo maybe as fleet of foot. He looks faster, like we said, with his hand speed. Foot speed, we'll see if it remains to be seen if he takes the same tactic. He continues to work out, Doug. This is by far the longest workout.
Yeah. He wants to give, he's been incognito for some months, so
Right.
Maybe he's making up for lost time. And again, this is his way of acknowledging his fans and showing appreciation, giving them an extended workout.
Julio Cesar says Canelo looks faster. He looks more powerful and fluid. Triple G is the same old dog with no new tricks. Good at what he does, but he's going to come short come September 15th. Viva Mexico. I agree, Julio, that Canelo does look faster and he does look more fluid. As far as Triple G having his same old tricks, well, those tricks are pretty damn good, though.
Yeah, I heard somebody say he's one-dimensional, and I say, well, that one dimension is one hell of a dimension, because we're talking about a guy who's been middleweight champion for almost 8 years.
Right, and listen.
And that doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't happen, no.
And there's a debate about how many title defenses Triple G has, but whether you feel he's ready to surpass Bernard Hopkins or that he has 5 title defenses less than that, if he has 15 title defenses, that's still more than marvelous Marvin Hagler and the great Carlos Monzon made. That's incredible. He's in all-time great company in terms of his statistics.
All-time great, and I'd put him in the ring with all those all-time
So would I.
greats.
Those would be good fights.
Great fights. You don't necessarily have to be incredibly flashy to be effective, and I think Triple G is one of those guys that just sort of does everything right, and he looks fundamental in there, but man, it's coming with such power and precision that it just works.
Marvin Hagler was no different.
Exactly. Another great example right there. Now, but to your credit, Julio Cesar, I believe, was the guy who made that last comment. Canelo does seem to look a little more fluid in there and faster. He is at his peak physically right now, in his prime. I forget his age is how old, Doug?
He just turned 28.
28. Now that is your peak man strength.
Absolutely.
Right there. So he is at his full man strength. So young. He's already had such a great career for being such a young guy.
He has the experience of 52 professional bouts and a lot of championship bouts.
A lot of championship, and he's not a guy who's been through. He's been in great fights, but not necessarily wars where it's taken a toll on his
Right.
body.
You've never seen him beat up.
No, and that's a credit to his great defense and his pedigree. We've seen him do the pool noodles, work the mitts. He's shadowboxing with his gloves on.
And I give guys like Canelo a lot of credit because he's in that elite boxer category, and he's up here. He's going toe-to-toe with guys like Golovkin. He's defeating fighters like Miguel Cotto. He's in there with guys like Mayweather. Listen, Mayweather, Cotto, Golovkin, we're talking about Olympians.
Olympians, Hall of Famers,
We're
future
talking
Hall of
about
Famers.
first ballot future Hall of Famers. We're talking about guys who had a lot of amateur experience. Canelo didn't.
You're right.
It's very rare. We don't see it very often that a fighter who didn't have an extensive amateur background come in and compete with fighters like Erislandy Lara, who was a world amateur champion, the captain of the fabled Cuban amateur boxing squad.
That says a lot.
To get in there and compete with these guys, that says so much.
Trout at the point when he fights.
Absolutely. Trout had an extensive amateur career. It's like, what's the guy's name? Terrence Crawford. I mean, he's up there in that pound-for-pound category, top 3 even, but he wasn't an Olympian.
No,
and that says a lot about these guys.
Well, he's one of my favorites too,
Yeah.
Terrence Crawford, who you're exactly right.
And a good all-around fighter.
And by the way, coming from Nebraska too, what kind of sparring can you get in Nebraska?
Right.
It makes it even more impressive.
It does.
That he's able to
It really does.
fight at that level.
I wish he was a little bit heavier so he could be fighting these guys.
Yeah, right. Well, he's still got a lot of good guys in his weight class.
Yeah, no
We're
doubt
going to see
about
some
it.
potential fights down the line there. It's been back and forth now with people predicting either Canelo or Triple G winning that fight. Saul now taking off his wraps. Never took off the shirt, by the way. Never took off. We know he's in shape.
He's modest.
He's being modest. He's got some new ink.
Where is the new ink?
The new ink's on the back.
I see. Do you know what it is?
It's some like a philosophical quote. It's in English, which surprised me. Wasn't that surprising?
All right, if you're going to get ink in English, you need to start speaking
Well, that's
English
my
more.
point. That's why I was so
Because
surprised.
he could do it, by the way.
He understands really
I
well
know.
too. Yeah, he's keeping it. I think 100, as the kids say.
Yeah.
With
But I
his,
think if he wanted to, he could speak English. I think maybe he's a perfectionist in that. He doesn't want to speak
Sure.
broken English.
right,
But I
think
bet you his English is a little bit better than Golovkin's.
yeah, I think it'd be endearing. I mean, I hope he gives us a little. We'll see. Let's go to Roxy now, who's with the champ. Go ahead, Roxy.
All right, guys. The moment of truth, the moment that we've all been waiting for right now. I'm standing here with Canelo. Canelo, are we going to see a different you on September 15th?
Sí, sin duda, ¿no? Todo lo que ha llevado esta pelea, en torno a esta pelea, sin duda verán otro Canelo, ¿no? Un Canelo con ganas de noquear, con ganas de salir a noquear y creo que será muy diferente.
Absolutely, absolutely. All the hard work, everything we've been doing in training, you're going to see a different Canelo. You're going to see a Canelo that's hungry for the knockout and that's going to go out there to look for the knockout.
Do you think that the only way to shut people up who think that you did not win the last fight is by knocking out Triple G?
Yo creo que es la mejor manera de poder demostrar que soy mejor que él con un knockout y voy a tratar desde el primer asalto, voy a salir a hacerlo.
I think that's the best way to prove it. That's the best way to show everyone that I'm a better fighter than he is. And as soon as that bell rings for the first round, that's what is on my mind. That's what I'm going to go out there to do, to start looking for the knockout.
Why is this fight so personal to you now?
No, obviamente se hizo una rivalidad natural por todo lo que han hablado, todo lo que han dicho. Pero como siempre digo, ¿no? Las palabras salen siempre sobrando arriba del cuadrilátero y el 15 de septiembre ahí es donde hay que callar bocas.
Look, this became a bigger rivalry because of everything that's been said, everything that they've said against me and towards me. But look, I've always said the words in the ring don't matter because come September 15th, I'm going to knock them out.
Your speed in the ring looks really good. And your left hook looks like something you've been working on. Is that something you've been working on?
Sí, no, la velocidad es muy importante en esta pelea y yo soy el que tiene la velocidad y tengo potencia. Creo que en la primera pelea me di cuenta que puedo noquearlo y voy a hacerlo.
Yes, absolutely. Speed is very important in this upcoming fight. And one thing I learned from the first fight, that I can hurt him and I can beat him. And that's what I'm going to do on this one.
What would you like to say to all your fans that are here watching right now?
No, simplemente gracias a toda la gente por estar aquí. Gracias. Espero el 15 de septiembre. Disfruten de una gran pelea. Muchas gracias a todos.
I want to thank everybody for being here, for all the love and support, and enjoy the fight September 15th. I'll see you all there. Thank you.
Back to you, Mark.